But folks, what if I could tell you that I could assign you an assistant that could be at your beck and call, an individual that you could reach out to who knew you maybe a little better than you knew yourself?
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
You know, one of the things that I've been teaching as a coach for many years is the power of the sounding board, advisors, mastermind groups, partners, the ability to get outside your appraisal cave, right? We spend so much time, appraisers, with our heads down, busy, but not really productive. And one of the things that I have found, in fact, it may be, and I don't want to, use hyperbole here, but I kind of think that I'm accurate here when I say one of the things, maybe the most important thing that I've ever done for my success is to utilize others, to bounce ideas off of others, to meet in mastermind groups. In fact, what I'm doing right now, currently, as the Appraiser Coach, I started this in 2010. Okay, so 15 years ago, I started coaching as a direct result of a mastermind group that I was in, and the encouragement and the ideas and the pats on the back, accountability, push, if you will, from other successful business owners who said, do it, Dustin. You have the gift of gab, do it. You've been successful, highly successful as an appraiser. Why not teach others how to do that? So thank you to my original mastermind 15 plus years ago for pushing me. But over the years, folks, I have found great value in friends, mentors, coaches. Yes, I have a coach. Sometimes people say, well, who's your coach, Dustin? His name is Ben. And by the way, if you follow me on Instagram, I introduced you to Ben recently. He's been a friend of mine for many, many years, but more so, he's been a mentor, a coach to me. Folks, the ideas that come to me because of the ability to bounce them off of other people. And by the way, this is a true principle, right? You don't know everything, my friends. You might think you do. Sorry to bring you down from the clouds, but you don't know everything. None of us do. And we all can be better by knowing great people. We can all be better by reaching out to people who have different ideas, who are willing to take a stand and be our biggest critics. One of the great things about my mentor, my coach, is he's the type of individual who can say, Dustin, that's the stupidest idea I have ever heard, and here's why. And then 3 seconds later, we can be best of friends. Not that we're not friends during that time, but my point is it affects our relationship zero because we know each other and I trust him. And I know that if I ask for his opinion, I'm going to get his opinion, not what placates me, not what makes me feel better. Folks, I want you to imagine just for a second a world where you had a personal sounding board, a personal assistant, and not just somebody to bounce ideas off of, not your equal, and not someone who you're always the smartest person in the room. That's not a fun thing. By the way, I've been in masterminds like that, and they're not fun. And not that I'm that smart, but I've been in masterminds before where my progress has been ahead of everyone else in the room. And it's not that exciting. It's fun to help other people, sure. But the sacrifice it takes to go to a mastermind, you want some give and you want some take. But folks, what if I could tell you that I could assign you an assistant that could be at your beck and call, an individual that you could reach out to who knew you maybe a little better than you knew yourself, that understands your personality profile, that understands your psyche, that understands how you work, that understands the mistakes that you've made in the past, the things that you will continue to make in the future, that is not just a confidant, but an expert on every subject you can imagine. Imagine that for just a second. Now I want you to imagine, what would that person cost? What would it cost you to pay somebody to be at your beck and call, not 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, but 24/7, 365, who is always there when you say, hey, Fred, I need some assistance. I need to talk to you about something. I need some ideas. I need to bounce some things off of. I need you to help me think clearer. I need you to help me to think more strategically. I need you to be my biggest critic. I need you to take this new idea I have for my business and the growth that I want and tell me why it won't work. What would you pay for that individual? Now, I think most of you know where I'm going with this. I'll kind of wrap it up after the break here, but I am going to give you a sneak peek and tell you that that person exists today, and that person costs $20, not an hour, not a minute, not even a day, $20 a month. By the way, folks, speaking of $20 a month, when was the last time you looked at your P&L and asked yourself about ROI, return on investment? I sometimes hear that things are too expensive, right? I hate that word, expensive. What does that mean, expensive, right? My question is, are you getting the investment out, or the return on your investment, the ROI? Is your investment worth the return? Folks, when you look at a program like True Home Tracker, you might look at the price tag and say, what? I've never seen any software that's that expensive. How could I do that? Then I want you to step back for just a second, take a deep breath and say, what are you currently paying for less software? What are you currently paying, for example, for your order management system, right? And when you count it up over, I don't know, the last 3 years, what have you paid for that order management system? And folks, all you're getting is an order management system. What if you could take that same money and get not just an order management system, but a robust and better order management system than anything out there? Trust me, I've tried them all. And also one that takes all of the principles that the Appraiser Coach teaches and implements them in your business so that you are accountable to a software so that you can automate your business. Well, folks, it's not just fiction. It's out there, and it's called True Home Tracker. Check them out by going to my website at TheAppraiserCoach.com. Click on my products page, scroll to the bottom, right? There's a lot of products there. Keep scrolling, keep going, a little further. There it is, True Home Tracker. We are sponsored today, of course, by another great investment. When you look at the monthly cost, and again, that's another word that I hate, monthly cost of TrueTrax, you are going to think, that's one more thing. That's one more subscription. It's one more payment I've got to make. Well, I encourage you to look at it differently. Again, look at the return on investment. How much time do you spend studying your market? How much time do you spend doing the boundaries in your report and making sure that they're right, that they're not just a north, south, east, west, but they actually represent a market? How much time are you spending looking at the adjustments and making the right adjustments? And here's the key, supporting those adjustments. And I dare say, how many of you are just not supporting those adjustments? Well, how would you like to for less than $100 a month? That's right, less than $100 per month. And not only that, I will give it to you, my gift to you for free, if you will use this coupon code. The coupon code is AppraiserCoach, capital A, capital C, no space. And the product, of course, is TrueTrax. TrueTrax can be found at truefootage.tech. That's truefootage.tech. Finally, we're sponsored by Working RE Magazine. Working RE Magazine, folks, is where you can go to find out more about what's going on in the appraisal industry, including the most up-to-date news in the appraisal industry, and it is free with a capital F. Check them out by going to workingre.com. That's what I did, and I signed up for their free newsletter at workingre.com. All right, folks, before the break, I asked you what it would What would you pay for somebody who could be by your side all the time? And it would not just be a strategic coach, would not just be a strategic partner with you, but it'd be your biggest critic, your biggest fan, your biggest support, your biggest sounding board, your biggest board of directors, and would be an absolute amazing individual. I mean, that would be a very expensive person, right? Especially one who's with you not just 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, but one that's with you constantly, 24/7, 365. Obviously, most of you are very up on where I'm going with this, as I have been a big fan over the last couple of years of AI. And folks, I don't care what you're using, whatever large language model LLM that you're using, I don't care. They each have their strengths, they each have their weaknesses. Maybe you're going to choose Perplexity, maybe Claude, maybe Gemini, maybe Grok, maybe like 76% of the world you're using ChatGPT. My question is, are you using it correctly? Are you using it and getting blah answers? Or are you prompting it correctly, iterating over and over again until you come away with the best business ideas out there? Folks, my closest advisor today, every single day on every single topic you can imagine, whether it be my hobbies, my relationships, my health, my finance, or my business, it's ChatGPT, it's Grok. Lately, it's been Gemini 3. Holy smokes. What a crazy model. Folks, if you're not using AI, I know it can be scary. I know it's a big change. I know the world is changing. I know we think that the machines are taking over the world, and crap, maybe they are, right? But if you're not utilizing, you're missing out. Let me share with you briefly as we close up. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to teach about 20 managers of retail in a workshop. It was an all-day workshop. When I began that workshop, I went around the room and just got a feel for where everybody was with AI. As they introduced themselves, I asked them to tell me what kind of experience they'd had with AI. And it was a teacher's worst nightmare because one individual said, I've never used any AI. I've never been on ChatGPT. I've never used it. I said, you've never even looked over someone's shoulder if they've used it? He said, nope, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go. About 3 people later, an individual said, oh, I love ChatGPT. I have a name for ChatGPT. I talk to ChatGPT hours a day. I do all the stuff with ChatGPT, on and on and on. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, I got 2 testimonials. One of them came from the first individual who said, admittedly, I am the last person to adopt anything. Thank you for this workshop. I cannot wait to dive into ChatGPT. Bonus, right? Stars in my eyes. Loved it. Person number 2. This is the one I was really worried about. He said, as I told you in the beginning, used ChatGPT hours a day. I had no clue what I was missing. And he was so excited to utilize the tools that I had taught yesterday. Folks, whether you are a beginner or advanced, there's always more that you can learn, and there's always more that you can do with a strategic partner, an assistant, a board of directors, someone who's going to be your biggest fan and your worst enemy, someone who you're not going to offend, right? But who is always there to serve and to help you to become better. If I can help you with that, folks, I've been teaching AI classes, workshops. In fact, I've taught several online to appraiser offices across the United States, where we spend hours with your crew. You get your office together and we will do a workshop on how to use AI for appraisal business work. If you're interested, please reach out to me at TheAppraiserCoach.com. Thank you, and go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit TheAppraiserCoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.